When I solved the mystery of time, that was the key that unlocked this undiscovered door. Behind the door was a shortcut that led straight to the center of the physics labyrinth. Along the way, I found something very interesting. Just before I reached the center of the labyrinth, I spotted some signs. I found some very old, dusty footprints from other physicists. I found some old shreds of their notes. Other physicists almost made it to the center, going along a different path than the one I traveled about 100 years ago. My new path had intersected their old path. They did this during the time frame in science that came just before Einstein's theory of relativity. Now, at this point in my life, it's like I see the maze from above. From above, you can see how to get to the center. From above, you can see that dead-end path where the thousands of physicists are still stuck. Every now and then, I walk down their path and try to tell them, hey, you are lost. You were going the wrong way. Follow me. It's this way instead. When I'm doing this task in my life, a task that I'm morally obligated to do, I feel like I'm wasting my time. They don't seem to understand me. They have not yet recognized that I found a better path. Understanding time opens the door to this better path. They all have their backs to me while they try to break down the massive wall that is blocking their path. Usually one of their followers turns around and grimaces at me as if they're trying to defend their leaders. Rather than fighting that pack psychology, I would rather spend the majority of my time before I die, alone if need be, at the center of the labyrinth, a place where I become mesmerized by the beauty of the grand unification of physics. Keep in mind, if you follow me down this corridor and if you don't like it, then you can always go back. If you are tempted and think there is a possibility that you would like to follow me, to follow my line of reasoning, then let's get down to business. Carl Sagan once said, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. So, first, I need to state my claims and then give some extraordinary evidence. Now, in my case, I claim to have made 3 major breakthroughs. They cover time, the grand unification of physics, and fusion energy. To provide evidence, I'll demonstrate a key proof of principle physics experiment. As you'll see, this simple experiment provides extraordinary, clear-cut evidence. I'm not just some guy with a theory. Unlike Einstein, I don't need to wait around for the astronomers to go off and photograph an eclipse. I already have some of the physical proof that I need, and I'm going to show it to you in this film. Altogether, I'll explain 3 major breakthroughs, 2 major physics breakthroughs, and 1 major engineering breakthrough for fusion energy. Finally, I finish with a really interesting example. It deals with water. It shows how we can use this new physics to change our world. The first physics breakthrough explains time. Have you ever wondered, what is time? My first major claim is, and there's no doubt about it, I have solved the mystery of time. Soon, in the second part of this film, I'll explain the mystery of time for you. While you might not understand everything about this new physics, at least with respect to time, time will no longer be a mystery for you. As you will discover, time is actually very easy to understand. If you can tell time, then you will understand this. My second major claim is, I have unified physics. Now, there's no reason to make you wait, so let me show you the central equation that unifies physics. This is it. This is the unifying equation. It is your first glimpse at what lies at the center of the labyrinth of physics. It is both simple and complex. Its simplicity is obvious. It has only 6 symbols. There are 3 letters, an X, an equal sign, and some arrows. It is short. It is only about an inch long. its complexity is not so obvious. After all, it explains all of physics. In the third part of this film, I'll give you a glimpse at how this simple 6-symbol equation can be used to describe everything around us. However, believe me, there's other stuff to understand first. I need to build up to this. For example, this equation is not purely mathematical. It is also physical. It is a three-dimensional equation. This equation contains motion. You can't see that just by looking at it. This equation has beautiful symmetry. That is hard to spot at first. What is weird is this equation seems to have a geometrical preference. This equation seems to like spheres, not strings. However, just by looking at it, you can't see this equation's preference for spheres. My third major claim is this new physics is the key to fusion energy. In the fourth part of this film, I'll explain this breakthrough in fusion energy. As you sit there and watch this film, you'll begin to discover this new physics for yourself. As this story unfolds, it will become obvious why fusion researchers were having problems with fusion energy. It will become obvious why previous fusion power plant designs did not work. It will become obvious what will make them work. Anyhow, in 2003, the United States Patent Office issued me the patent for this new class of fusion power plants. As you can imagine, that was an exciting day. It is my belief this type of fusion power plant will eventually provide almost all of our energy needs cleanly, safely, and can start doing so within only 3 years. I certainly do not mean to imply that it will be legal to operate any of these new commercial fusion power plants in 3 years, at least not in the United States. Regulation is now our biggest barrier. What I'm saying here is, in my opinion, the fundamental technical barrier to fusion energy, a problem of physics, has been removed. The political problem has not been removed. We need to work together on the politics. If I'm right, then this will be one of the biggest technical innovations in the history of the world. This is a graphic from one of the designs from the patent. In my opinion, this new type of fusion power plant will help to protect the environment and help to improve the world's climate. Again, I'll explain the technical aspects of this new type of fusion power plant in the fourth section of this film. After the section on fusion, I decided to add an optional section to this film. It deals with regulation, politics, and financing. I understand these topics are not for everybody. So again, that part is optional. The regulation part will make you mad, so I understand why people might skip that. The political part explains how you can change things if you want to get involved. You may not be interested in the information on money, unless you see yourself getting wealthy with this information. Imagine that we are in a large room full of people. It is a formal party. People are standing around talking. If the room was full of celebrities, since I'm not a celebrity, chances are he would not spot me. If the room was full of people that are wealthy, since I am not wealthy, chances are you would not notice me. If the room was full of people with well-known high status, since I am not well-known, chances are you might not attribute high status to me. If the room was full of venture capitalists, then you might think, wow, those venture capitalists are all impressive alphas, and not even notice me. However, in that situation, the venture capitalists, at least the ones that know about my breakthroughs in physics, would each be secretly thinking, man, can I make a ton of money with that guy? At a minimum, each of them would be excited simply because of my fusion power plant patent. Because of this important detail, the optional part of this science film is specifically directed at the venture capitalists. The optional part of this film is also a proposal for the politicians. As you watch this film, keep this in mind. Our world is about to start changing faster, much faster. To some people in the world, the citizens of the United States must seem like aliens. A poor person from a country like Niger or Afghanistan cannot even imagine the type of life we live here in the United States. Recently, I saw an investigative news report on TV. The reporter interviewed some people from Afghanistan. What seemed odd to me was most of the people there did not know why our military was in their country. Most had never even heard of what happened on September 11th. Simply put, there are billions of people in the world that can't even imagine or visualize just how great it is here in the United States. As inventors and entrepreneurs implement this new physics in new technologies, this is going to accelerate change. As the world starts to change faster, this massive gap will become much larger. Very soon, here in the United States, there will be people boarding vehicles that go on vacations in space. That is something to ponder. There are poor people all over the world that are still just trying to find some water to grow crops and survive. There are still large numbers of people in the world that burn dung to cook their food and provide some heat. My advice to you is, as our world starts to change even faster, don't get left behind. In my opinion, this new understanding of physics will be life-changing. It will change our philosophies. It will expand and change how we think about physics. It is going to be earth-shattering for astronomy. If you think you understand astronomy, you don't. If this new physics is right, and there's no doubt about the part in time, then what most of astronomers believe and teach is wrong. This new physics enables us right now to engineer and build exciting new technologies. This new physics allows us to live better lives. So, to give an example of this, in the fifth and final part of this science film, I'll describe how this new physics could be used right now in hot deserts to collect massive amounts of fresh water from the atmosphere. This water can be used to transform the environment to help eliminate droughts and famines.